Okay, Community Governance Review Working Group. It's Monday the 14th of March, 2 p.m. Can you have mobile phones set to silent, please? As to the agenda, do we have any apologies for absence?
Apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Clack, Councillor Adam Stokes and Councillor Annie Mason.
Okay, given I don't have a vice chair today, I'd like to nominate Councillor Ray Wotton to be the vice chair today. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Rice-Oxley. All those in favour? Any against? And any abstentions? Okay, thank you, Councillor Wotton, and thank you for stepping in. Okay, any disclosures of interest in the room or online? Any disclosures of interest? No. Okay, notes from the previous meeting held on the 21st of February. Do I have any comments on the meeting notes from the 21st of February? No. Do I have a proposal that that's a true and accurate record of that meeting? Yeah. Councillor Steptoe, thank you. Any seconder? Councillor Wotton. Councillor Wotton. All those in favour that's a true and accurate record? Any against? And any abstentions? Okay, that's carried. Moving on to the Community Governance Review updating process. Graham Watts.
Thank you, Chairman. So it's my intention to just go through all of the points under agenda item 4 and then answer any questions that may come up at the end, if that's okay, Chairman, with yourself. So in terms of the confirmation of commencement of the consultation process, the consultation went live on the 11th of March 2022, 2022. So the online version of the survey was live on Friday, and Friday was the date that our printers sent out all of the hard copies to households in Grantham and the surrounding parishes. So they all went out second class post on Friday, so should be landing on doorsteps this week, ready for hard copies to be sent back to us. In terms of how to respond to the consultation, the hard copy includes a survey that you've seen at this working group before. So anyone in receipt of the hard copy documentation can send a survey back to us via hard copy. Alternatively, and something we're pushing for, is an online response. So within the paperwork that's sent out to all households, there's a link to the online survey. And there's also a QR code at the front of the document, which you can scan on your mobile device, and that takes you straight away to the online version of the consultation form as well. So plenty of opportunities for people to participate and get a response back to us. In terms of the consultation itself and those bodies and individuals we've consulted with, as referred to previously, we have sent a hard copy to every household in Grantham and the surrounding parishes. So all of those properties will receive a hard copy at some stage this week, depending on obviously Royal Mail. So all of those properties will receive a hard copy in the post. In addition to that, we've obviously got Statutory Consultees that we have sent the consultation to, and I'll just quickly run through those Statutory Consultees. So all South Kesteven District Councillors have received a copy of the link via email. So too have all Lincolnshire County Councils for the South Kesteven area. So all of the divisions that are in the South Kesteven area for the County Council have all received a copy of the consultation, as has the County Council as an organisation itself. So that's been sent to the Chief Executive, with the Head of Democratic Services copied in as well. A copy has also been sent to Gareth Davies MP and Dr Caroline Johnson MP. The parishes of Barrowby, Belton and Manthorpe, Great Gonaby, Little Ponton and Stroxton, Harloxton, London Thorpe and Harrowby Without have all been sent a copy to their parish clerks. The Grantham Charter Trustees, obviously all councillors are district councillors, so have all received a copy themselves, but a copy has also been sent to the Mayor's Parlour of the Charter Trustees as an organisation itself. A copy has also been sent by email to the Grantham Business Club, and it's been sent to the chairman, and they've been asked to forward it on to any Grantham businesses that they have on their database. And we've also sent copies to the community groups in Grantham and parishes I'll just run through. If you bear with me, I just want to make it clear the organisations that we've actually consulted with. So we've consulted with the Alive Church, Barrowby Preschool, Cliffdale PFA, Contact the Elderly Grantham 2, Dysart Park Action Group, Friends of Belmont School, Friends of Sandham and Ambergate, Grantham and District Indoor Bowls Club, Grantham and District Camera Club, Grantham and District Talking Newspaper, Grantham Arts CIC, Grantham Athletics Club, Grantham Autistic Information Network, Grantham Canal Society, Grantham Civic Society, Grantham Cricket Club, Grantham Disabled Children Society, Grantham Dramatic Society, Grantham International Senior Citizens, Grantham Judo Club, Grantham Life Saving Club, Grantham Lions Club, Grantham Men's Shed, Grantham Museum, Grantham Poverty Concern, Grantham Singers, Grantham Sunrise Rotary, Harloxton Sports and Social Club, Huff Grantham, Inspire Plus, Jubilee Christian Fellowship Trust, Manthorpe Preschool, Rotary Club of Grantham, Rotary Club of Grantham Kesteven, South Lincolnshire Blind Society, St Peter's Hill Players, Sunshine Playgroup Great Gonaby, the Friends of St Wolfran's Church, and Wyndham Park Forum. If any members of this working group have any additional community groups that we can send this consultation to, then please do let us know, and we can send either hard copies or the link to the online consultation.
Can I just interrupt there? How can, if a community group wants to contact you directly, how do they do that?
There's an email address on the consultation document itself. So we've got a CGR, Community Governance Review email address set up that is devoted to this review. So there's a
okay, what is that email address?
So that is, it's cgr@southkesteven.gov.uk. We can also take telephone calls on 01476 406080 if anyone has any questions on the review itself. But you know, if there are any groups that we need to reach out to, then again they can call that number and we can pass the details on. And just in relation to the role of the working group, which is the last section on the agenda, full council on the 25th of November established this working group to oversee the community governance review. So that the role of this working group is to effectively facilitate the review and make sure that it's undertaken in accordance with the guidance and the processes that are set out for community governance reviews, which basically incorporates developing and approving the terms of reference for the review, which we've already done, which council's approved, and also developing and undertaking the consultation process, which clearly is we're at that stage now where we've approved the consultation and it's now live. So the next role for this working group is to meet once the consultation closes, collate the responses, and consider whether or not there's a recommendation that this working group wishes to put forward to council.
Thank you. Councillor Ray Wharton.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Can you please tell me, for the record, the exact number of information that you sent out by post, please, and the exact costs of that circulation?
Right.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry, I meant to mention the numbers. So the total number of properties, which includes Grantham and the parishes that I've already listed, is 23,201. So that's 23,201 individual hard copies that have been sent out to those properties in the district. The cost I'm not sure of, but we have got a budget of £20,000 allocated for this review, which that will fall within.
Chairman, could I also ask that you additionally ask the Alms Houses Society of Grantham to be included, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions and comments upon what's been done on the consultation so far? Councillor Steptoe.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so thank you, Chairman. So looking forward, if I may, so if this is not appropriate to ask at this time, then obviously I'm quite happy to stop. But Graham just mentioned the role of the working group as regards to what happens at the end of the consultation. Now, the consultation is extremely important. Of course it is. That goes without saying. But I have my own personal views on the need for a town council. I represent a political party, obviously, that has long had a policy of being in favour of a town council. And I and my local party will start now to campaign in favour of a town council. I don't think that's going to come as a shock to anybody. So my question really is, and this is a purely hypothetical question at this stage, if a majority of this group at the end of the consultation are against a Grantham Town Council and are going to put that position to full council, South Kesteven District Council, I assume and I would hope, Graham, that there would be official provision for a minority report, as it were, to be submitted. Thank you.
Graham Watt.
Thank you, Chairman. So, as I've mentioned before, there is the issue of potential for predetermination to consider. I've taken advice on that issue this morning through Legal Services Lincolnshire. So this is obviously an active consultation process. All members of the council, including yourselves on this working group, have the freedom to participate in that consultation process as statutory consultees. So there's no problem in terms of you expressing a view on the proposal to either establish or not a parish or town council for Grantham. I think where we have to be a bit careful, and again, it's up to an individual councillor how they put their views forward. It's whether or not you have a closed mind. So you may be in favour of a town council for Grantham, but are you prepared to actually take into account the public consultation? And that's where the issue is. If you've got a closed mind and there's nothing that's ever going to change your mind, that's where there's a problem in terms of predetermination. But if you put your view forward that you're in favour or against at this time, taking into account all of the information that's in the documentation that's been sent out to everyone, then as a councillor, you're entitled to put your view across. And as you say, you may wish to campaign for a certain response to that consultation. But when it comes to you as a decision taker at full council, or even in this group making a recommendation to full council, you need to be very clear about whether you have an open mind in terms of taking all of that, all of the responses to the consultation into account before forming a view on behalf of the working group that makes a recommendation to full council. So that's the kind of important area, really. It's about having a view, but also as a councillor and a decision maker, having an open mind when it comes to making a decision. And if you as an individual councillor feel that actually you don't have an open mind and there's nothing that anyone can say to deter your view as to whether or not you should have a town council for Grantham, then that's a decision that you need to take in terms of whether or not you feel you can participate with an open mind when you make your decision at full council.
In fairness, I don't think that's what Councillor Steptoe was saying in terms of not having an open mind. I mean, Councillor Steptoe is on this group, and so the mere fact that he's actually on the community governance review would suggest that he's actually participating in the consultation. When it comes to predetermination, it's an interesting point, this, because part of the issue here is it's not our decision. It's the decision of the council, and we as a group form a minority. So even if all 14 of us were predetermined, that doesn't matter anyway. It's not our decision. It's the decision of Bourne councillors, Deeping councillors, Stamford councillors, all of the rest of the district who have a much higher majority on the council as to whether they want to give us a town council or not. That's part of the principle of the consultation, working out whether we're happy about decisions continuing to be made elsewhere. So I think the predetermination argument is a weak one, actually, but I'd like to take some more comments, please. Councillor Whittington.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I mean, at the moment, I have to say I'm really going to just be interested to see what the response to the consultation is, because at the present time, I haven't sort of made my mind up either one way or the other on a Grantham Town Council. So I'll be interested to sort of see what level of feedback we receive, and also certainly be interested because I understand obviously on the questionnaire that there's some free form boxes as well for people to write in their comments and views. So I'll be quite interested really to sort of judge it upon what comes back. So at the moment, I'm sort of adopt a fairly sort of neutral position and just see what comes back. My only concern would be ensuring we get sufficient numbers back, and I've always said this, sufficient numbers back to allow us to take an informed decision. Because I know from a statistical point of view, most statisticians would say you really need more than 10% feedback from any sort of group, sorts of consultees or questions to actually get something that's you can then correlate up to be statistically safe, as it were. So I'd be kind of, for me, my mind, I've got this sort of 10% threshold that I think that we would need to achieve at least in order to sort of in order from a statistical point of view, I think for the final results to be reflective. So my concern is how we try and make sure we get that level of response back, because I know previously when this question has been asked that there's been a very, very poor response of only a few hundred people replying, and how we try and get the numbers up. Going on to parish councils, I sort of made aware of the fact that quite a number of parish councils, if they wish as a parish council to formally reply to the consultation, they would probably have to do that at one of their parish council meetings. Now, I know in the case of Barraby's monthly meeting is this evening, and I know that they're trying to get this on the agenda as an item to discuss, because Barraby's next meeting wouldn't be until about, I think it's the second Monday in April, which would be the 11th, I think, which of course wouldn't then really give them a great deal of time to sort of formulate a response before the 22nd. Now, I know some other parish councils, if it doesn't fit into their cycle, I know some of the smaller parish councils may only meet 6 weekly or 2 monthly. It might actually mean that some parish councils, the 6-week period, it'd be quite difficult for them to sort of get it onto the agenda of one of their meetings. So I'm not quite sure how. I think it's going to be difficult to sort of get back the views of parish councils, because maybe the 6-week consultation period isn't quite long enough for them. So just in terms of how parish councils work, in terms of the groups, Graham, I can think of another 4 or 5 groups that I think should be contacted, but I'll drop you a separate email. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Graham Watts.
Thank you, Chairman. So thank you for those comments. Just to come back on a couple of points. The correspondence with parishes through the parish clerks, as part of that correspondence, we were kind of encouraging parish clerks to forward that onto the members of their own councils. So individual parish councillors should have the opportunity to take part as well. And of course, if they're residents, they'll receive the hard copy anyway. So they'll be able to put their views across. And I think in terms of a parish council, it's difficult to know how often parish councils meet, but obviously they do have the ability to hold an extraordinary meeting. So if it's something that they really felt they wanted to meet and agree a formal response to, then they've got the opportunity to obviously meet for that one item agenda to agree a response to the authority. We're not quite at the 10% mark yet, Councillor Whittington, but we have got 45 online responses to date. That's the latest. I mean, we haven't obviously had any hard copies returned because they've probably not landed on doorsteps yet. But already at this early stage, we've got 45 online responses to the consultation. And just in terms of getting the message out, we did send a press release out on Friday when the consultation went live. We also did some social media posts, which I know through looking at a few of our accounts, we've generated a bit of interest online via social media, and we've got a few posts scheduled between now and the closing date for social media activity from the council's comms team as well. So there'll be an ongoing comms.
Just to Mark's point, I think Mark's point is there a process? If we're not getting feedback from town councils, from parish councils, we really want them to be engaged. So 2 weeks before the close of the window, there should be a process from the democratic team to just positively confirm that a certain parish council doesn't want to contribute if they haven't contributed so far. And I suppose to his second point, or his first point, sorry, I think he's right. I think there's a minimum mandate with which this working group can take a sensible decision. Mark said 10%, which would be around about 2,000. In order for us to kind of make that decision and to ensure that we're not all wasting our time on this, we would need to have updates through this window to see how close we are to a sensible mandate, so that if we're forming well behind, then it gives the opportunity for members of this panel to do some more campaigning or less campaigning, etc. So for that, we would need a process. Can we expect weekly updates in terms of, not breakdowns, but in terms of just absolute number of responses that we've received? Obviously, there's a much bigger job in terms of putting together those, but in terms of an engagement level, we wouldn't want to hear as a panel the day before the window closes that actually we're nowhere near having a sensible number of people come in. Okay, so a couple of actions there. Councillor Rice-Oxley.
Thank you, Chairman. A couple of things, if I may. Firstly, just picking up Councillor Steptoe's point. So if the group is split, obviously we all live here, there's some quite strong feelings, and some arguments are going to have more weight with some people than others. So, even the results of the consultation won't necessarily provide absolute clarity. So if the group is split, is it possible, is it allowed for two arguments to be put to full council, or does there have to be a single recommendation, or could two arguments be put for full council to make that decision? And secondly, obviously, as we're all saying, the number of responses coming in is absolutely vital. Did we get any further on the idea of having a sort of stall display thing in the George Centre? I know LCC have done it for sort of transport strategies and stuff, where you could have a banner with the QR on it, catch people on their mobile phones as they're walking past, try and just pick up people in the coffee shops, try and just get a few clicks, might help. Thank you.
Graham Watt.
Thank you. Just in relation to the recommendations to council, so this working group could decide, actually, because there's such a split or too many different opposing views, it doesn't have to make a recommendation to council. It could simply refer the outcome of the consultation process to full council and ask full council to take the decision without a firm recommendation from the working group. That's perfectly reasonable. The report will have all of the information from all the responses within it. So that's an option that the working group may decide, actually, we can't reach a view, so we've just refer the results to full council.
Just a small correction in what you said there. This committee will not make the decision. The decision is made by full council. We can make a recommendation or not. I think you seem to imply that we'd be making a decision. The decision is made by full council, not this committee, as to whether we have a town council or not. Councillor Wharton.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I've been a charter trustee since 2007, so 15 years. And during those 15 years, on two separate occasions, we held a public meeting to gauge the opinion of becoming a town council. Now, I remember about 10 years ago, the first meeting, 10 of us turned up, facilitator didn't even turn up, and that was the end of that meeting. The second meeting, 13 people turned up, and we were part of that 13. So I'm very, disillusioned what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not very confident that the public will respond. I'm pleased that 45 online have, which is good, but I want to know the question is, what weight will you put on the response you get from the members of the public if we at the council are going to make the final decision? Thank you.
Graham Watt.
Thank you, Chairman. Just, you're absolutely right. It's full council that will make any final decision. What I was referring to was this working group's recommendation in terms of what it decides to forward to full council as part of any recommendation. So it may be that this working group doesn't feel that it can make a recommendation to full council, but yes, the ultimate decision will be full council to make.
Fine. Councillor Steptoe.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a couple of points. I totally and utterly respect the members, the elected members that are saying they're waiting for the results of the consultation. I really do. You know, this is a big issue for the town, and, you know, people can make their own minds up, and they have every right to be cautious and wait for the consultation and so on. But it's also, I have to say, it is a role of politicians, whether national politicians or local politicians such as ourselves, to lead campaigns. And this may be a quaintly old-fashioned view, but to actually educate the public. And I say that with no condescension whatsoever. It is perfectly valid and fine for local politicians to campaign and speak out on something that they feel clearly about. I know nobody has said anything to the contrary, but I just want to nail that view down. I do come here with an open mind, and I thank the chair for his comments earlier. I've attended every single meeting of this body. If I didn't have an open mind, I wouldn't bother. I would just have my own predetermined dogmatic views. I'm more than happy to listen to get the results of the consultation. The question I asked earlier was hypothetical. What if I disagreed with, I or others disagreed with the majority of this committee? Could there be a minority report? And forgive me if I've missed it, but I don't think there's been an answer to that. And what I would like to point out in a totally impartial way as a history teacher is that minority reports are very much part and parcel of British public life. So, for example, in the days of royal commissions, okay, there haven't been any for a while, but go back a few decades, it was perfectly valid that there would be a minority recommendations after a total consensus hadn't happened. You know, total consensus is lovely in life, but it doesn't happen very often, does it? So again, and forgive me for pressing this, I would like to think that if necessary, a minority report from this committee to full council would be seen as totally proper and totally valid. Thank you, Chair.
Graham Watts.
Thank you, Chairman. So the report that will be produced for this committee or for this working group to consider will be a factual report that will set out all of the outcomes of the consultation, all of the responses, and it will provide it in a breakdown of different areas so that you can see where the responses have come from, the key messages that have been received. So that report will be factual. What this working group decides to recommend to full council is up to this working group. In terms of a minority report, the report will be as presented and it will be factual. The minutes from this meeting could form the paperwork that goes to full council, and in terms of an individual response or a minority response, that could be made as part of your presentation to full council when debating the matter. But ultimately, it's for this working group to decide what it wants to recommend to full council.
I see no contradiction there. I see no problem in there being minority contributions, split decisions, and qualifications to any recommendation and decision there. So I can certainly offer that assurance. Is there any other comment on this? When is the appropriate? I suppose my final question to you, Graham, was thank you very much for your time today and all the work that's gone into this. When is the appropriate forum for us as councillors to engage with this process?
Chairman, it's an open consultation. Any member of the council can engage with the process in terms of responding to the consultation. If you wanted to meet as a working group and express your views as individual councillors, again, it's up to individual councillors if they feel comfortable in doing that at a public forum at this as part of the consultation prior to making that final decision at full council. So it's entirely up to the working group really as to what it wants to do in terms of using its meetings.
Fine. Ray Wharton, Councillor
Yeah,
Wharton.
thank you very much, Chairman. I mean, we've met as a working group, Graham, and you've got consultation letters going out to people, but will there be any chance for members of the public to meet us en bloc or in a particular forum or a room, a council meeting, for example, to explain our position more clearly to people?
Graham Watt.
Thanks, Chairman. That's potentially something we could look at facilitating. In terms of the question earlier from Councillor Rice Oxley in relation to the stand stall approach, that's not something that we've looked at doing. I think mainly because we've dedicated so much resource in terms of getting a paper copy of the survey and additional information to every household in the town and surrounding parishes that we didn't feel it was necessary, given the financial constraints that we're up against. But we think by physically getting a paper copy out to all of those households should hopefully be sufficient, in addition to all of the online and social media stuff that we're doing in support of that.
Okay, so we can work with the Democratic team on that. That's perhaps something that could be done ahead of full council, etc. Councillor Mansfield.
Thank you, Chair. I just really wanted to kind of support what Councillor Steptoe was saying there. I think, as it is a full council's decision, I do kind of think that we need to kind of hopefully conclude that we have more than one opinion, if that's how us as a working group sit, and that they kind of both or all of them go as a recommendation for full council.
Fine. Okay, so that point's noted. If there are no further comments in the room and no further comments online, so the update, just to summarise, the updates as to the progress of this will be done, circulated via email, and you'll look to for a forum within which we can give our contributions, perhaps ahead of a full council or something like that. Okay, that's fine. If there are no other comments and questions in the room or online, Councillor Steptoe.
Sorry, just really quickly, can I ask at this stage if there is a further meeting of this group actually scheduled in the diary, or is that to be arranged? Thank you.
My understanding is the next formal meeting of this will be after the consultation window closes. However, it's been suggested today that there should be an appropriate forum with which all members can voice their opinion in public. It strikes me that perhaps the best way of doing that would be in the half an hour ahead of a full council, because we'd all be there. But we can work with the team to see whether that can be arranged.
Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Whittington.
Yes, sorry, thanks. Just to pick up what Councillor Steptoe was saying, and also your previous comments on how the consultation is going, I'm just wondering suppose if we do get to, say, the 4-week point in a few weeks' time, and Graham tells us we've only had 200 or 300 responses, I'm just wondering if it may be a good idea to have an emergency meeting of this group. If the response isn't particularly good to see what potentially we could do about it, if there's any mileage in that or not. Thanks.
Okay, I'm grateful for that comment. We'll note that as an action, and as I say, if any member wants to request that based upon the weekly updates that we'll be getting, then I'm certainly happy to facilitate that. Are there any other questions in the room or online? Okay, it's 2:37. I'll bring the meeting to a close. Thanks everyone.